I read in a publication from local Business Link some years ago that networking clubs are becoming more and more popular as a result of the recession. At about that time I was looking for more business, so I thought, well, perhaps I'll try that. And I did. I went along and ultimately I joined a networking club. Regrettably, it wasn't really very successful. But one of the problems I had was, what do I actually do when I get there? That probably sounds a bit strange, but I got the impression that I would go along and there'd be people talking business and passing leads and all this sort of thing, but regrettably there was quite a bit of talking business, not much passing of leads. There I was, going into a room full of strangers for the first time. And incidentally, this is, I understand, the second greatest fear that people have generally, entering a room full of strangers and having to interact with them. Fortunately, a few people came along and talked to me, which certainly was a help. There were times previous to that when I went to meetings, and I'm sure a lot of people watching and listening to this will appreciate exactly what I'm saying. There were times when I went along and endeavoured to look intelligent, looking out of the window or examining a pot plant intricately, or a painting on the wall. It's very difficult for people just to break in and talk to people who are strangers, especially if they are conscious, overly conscious of the fact that they're actually trying to get something from these people. That's what I did initially, and I'm sure it's what a lot of people do. So what's networking actually about? It's a long-term strategy for getting business, with emphasis on the long term. You have to get on with the people, they have to trust you in order for them to send work to you. After all, you're not going to send work to a complete stranger when you don't know their credentials or anything about them. So it's a long-term business. You need to know how to approach people. You need to know what to say. This probably sounds a bit silly again. If you've been in this position before, a lot of people will appreciate this. You have to know what to talk about. You have to know how to prepare yourself. And this, I think, is a major problem. As I've stated elsewhere, we all know how to speak. We all know how to talk to people. We all know how to put a point across and ask questions. But we need to prepare ourselves so that we can go along, we can look around a room, and we can see who we should speak to and who we shouldn't. We need to know how to introduce ourselves and what to talk about and how to conduct ourselves, so that people will start to get used to us, will take to us, will start to trust us, will actually accept us. Once you've done that, you are likely, more likely, to start to get business. Now, I'm talking here of a situation where you might go to a particular club on a regular basis and get to know people in that way. But it applies just the same if you go to, I don't know, a one-day course or a tutorial or a meeting. You have to conduct yourself in the same way so people find you acceptable. And this means that you do not go in and endeavour to sell and push yourself. You know what it's like, I'm sure. If you're standing in your front room and you see somebody coming down the path to your house, a stranger with a briefcase, what do? Do you rush to the door and say, hello, what do you want? What have you got to sell me? Oh, I'd be interested in buying that. Or, as I think most people do, and I say this includes me, you hide and pretend to be out. I think it's probably the latter. So you don't go to sell your product, you go to gently sell yourself.